엠킴TV 구독자 및 시청자 여러분 안녕하세요. 오늘은 펜실베니아주 관련된 업데이트 두 가지를 가지고 왔습니다. 한 가지는 이미 여러분들이 아시겠지만 펜실베니아주 법원에서 선거 결과에 대한 인증을 잠시 중단했다는 것입니다. 아마 미국 시간으로 금요일에 있을 아주 중요한 이벤트에서 이 결과에 대한 윤곽이 드러나지 않을까 싶은데요. 그 외에도 어제 펜실베니아주에서는 아주 중요한 부정선거 관련 청문회가 있어서 제가 하이라이트 영상을 가지고 왔습니다. 약 3시간 30분 가까이 진행된 이 펜실베니아주의 부정선거 청문회에는 공화당 측 상하원 의원들과 또 주요 인물들이 주도적으로 참여하였고, 루디 줄리아니와 트럼프의 법률팀 멤버들, 그리고 가장 중요하게는 이번 부정선거 관련 소송에 직접 참여한 증인들이 직접 나와서 증언을 하는 장면들이 나옵니다. 지금까지는 우리가 변호사들을 통해서 부정선거에 대한 증거를 전달해서 들었다면, 오늘 이 청문회에서는 직접 공신력 있는 증인들이 나와서 부정선거의 증거를 낱낱이 파헤쳐주는 장면이 있습니다. 영상의 중반부에 서프라이즈 증인으로 트럼프 대통령이 음성으로 출연하는 시간도 있습니다. 언론에선 잘 다뤄주지 않고 보여주지 않는 트럼프 측의 실제적인 속사정을 여러분들이 이 영상을 통해서 조금이나마 들여다보실 수 있으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 마지막으로 이번 소재를 아주 심도 있고 디테일하고 또 친절하게 이메일로 제보해주신 제이든 구독자님께 너무 감사드립니다. 여러분들의 제보는 엠킴TV의 가장 큰 후원이 됩니다. 많은 추천과 또 제보 부탁드리고요. 그럼 지금부터 하이라이트 영상 보시겠습니다.
We are very, very honored and very appreciative that you are giving us an opportunity to be heard, which we've been denied almost uniformly by the media and by legislatures elsewhere. All we ask is that you listen to the facts that we're presenting and then evaluate it. Because if we allow elections in the future to be conducted the way this election was conducted, we will have lost our democracy. During the course of this election, we've come pretty close to losing our right of free speech. There's been censorship that I've never seen before, of an incredible nature by big tech, big networks, big companies. They only allow one side to be heard, and they refuse to allow the other side to be heard. It's almost as if they're afraid the American people, if they should learn these facts, will find out just who they are and what they're about. This voter fraud that took place, which, as you will see from the witnesses that we call, had several dimensions to it, several different ways in which it was done. The most dangerous thing is it is very, very similar in at least 6 states that we've been able to study. In other words, what we're going to describe to you with these witnesses happened in roughly the same way in Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. You sent out in the state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania 1,823, 148 absentee or mail-in ballots. You received back 1.4 million approximately. However, in the count for president, you counted 2.5 million. I don't know what accounts for that 700,000 difference between the number of ballots you sent out and the number of ballots that ended up in the count. That number, 2,589,242, was on your government website until yesterday. And yesterday it was removed without explanation. I'm going to be very interested in hearing what the explanation is, and I can't imagine you could possibly certify without knowing the explanation to that, as well as the explanation to the 22,686 mail-in ballots that were returned. If they can just enter 600,000 some odd mail-in ballots without allowing a single Republican to view it, what's to say that next time they won't do 1 million or 2 million? So now we'll proceed with the witnesses.
My name is Justin C. Queder, Kweder. I am a resident and registered voter in the city and county of Philadelphia. I'm an attorney. I am barred here in the Commonwealth. I am a volunteer certified GOP canvass observer. I was present at the Philadelphia Convention Center during the pre-canvass, canvass processing, and counting of the ballots cast in this year's general election. And as such, I will now focus on just 2 issues that I did personally observe. First, the Philadelphia Board of Elections processed hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots with zero civilian oversight or observation. The mail-in ballots were handled, processed, opened, and counted in Hall F of the Convention Center. Hall F is a vast room, approximately 350 feet by 350 feet. That's about 120,000 square feet. The Board of Elections erected a fence approximately 50 feet into the hall. All observers were corralled behind the fence. More than 100 board workers processed and opened mail-in ballots on the other side of the fence. These masked workers were arranged throughout the 120,000 square feet at a distance from the observers of about 10 feet to more than 200 feet away from us. Due to the distance of the workers from the erected fences, it was impossible for me or any observer to see what the workers were doing with any type of specificity. The observers were not able to challenge any decision or determination being made about the processing of these mail-in ballots. Move on to the second point, the pink highlighted duplicate ballots, which I haven't heard about. As the weeks progressed, the observers were informed that the board was going to be duplicating damaged mail-in ballots that could not be read by the scanners. I was told that there were more than 5,000 of these damaged ballots. I was also told that the actual number was unknown and could be much higher. The process for duplicating these ballots was for two workers to work as a pair. One worker reading out loud what was marked on the original damaged ballot, and the second worker using a pink highlighter to mark the choice on the duplicate ballot. Board's plan then was to run the pink highlighted ballots through the scanners where they would be counted as votes. The board workers did this pink highlighter duplication work over the course of a couple days until thousands of ballots were duplicated with these pink highlighters. On Thursday, November 12th, the observers were informed that the pink highlighter could not be read by the scanners. They all had to be done again. All of the duplicated mail-in ballots had to be fixed. And the Philadelphia Board of Elections' solution to this problem was to give the workers who were working alone, individually, stacks of hundreds of what amounted to blank mail-in ballots. And the workers, individually, were to fill in the correct highlighted ovals with dark pen. No observation. They were marking thousands of blank mail-in ballots. The workers did this double recreation work for hours before the observers realized what was going on, because we weren't told what was going on. Thousands of mail-in ballots were ultimately counted in this way. I wasn't around for every election in Philadelphia's history, but I can tell you as an eyewitness, for 10 days, for more than 80 hours, what I saw was not a secure and transparent election.
My name is Gregory Stenstrom. I'm from Delaware County. I'm a father, a family man. I was a former commanding officer and executive officer in the Navy. I'm a veteran of foreign wars. I'm the CEO of my own private company. I'm a data scientist. I'm a forensic computer scientist. I'm an expert in security and fraud. So for the first part of the day, I was a poll watcher in the city of Chester. And I was with just another former U.S. Marine officer, and the two of us were the only GOP poll watchers in the city of Chester. What I saw as a forensics expert was an election process that was forensically destructive. I don't care how many times you recount those votes, the ballot's going to come out the same every time. So the notion of a recount in a forensically destructive process doesn't work very well. Chain of custody and the procedures that were defined by the Delaware County Board of Elections and election process review they didn't follow one. They didn't follow any of the procedures. So I personally observed USB cards being uploaded to voting machines by the voting machine warehouse supervisor on multiple occasions. I saw this personally. I brought it to the attention of the deputy sheriff who was there stationed, who was a senior law enforcement officer. Good patriots. They got us in there. They got the order for us to get in and watch it, look at the back offices, which were locked, for 5 minutes every 2 hours. I went in. I was the first one allowed to go in. What I observed in the locked room in the back office was 70,000 unopened mail-in ballots. They were in boxes of 500, stacked in neatly. The gentleman that came in with me was a Democrat poll watcher, meticulous notes as well, and I verified with him, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Was by that time, the mail-in ballots had already been counted. So 120,000 mail-in ballots had already been counted, posted, and done. So my question is, where do the 70,000 ballots go? And nobody knows. We have a picture in here of a large number of boxes that I took that were filled with what appeared to be ballots sitting by the Blue Crest machine. They were there for about 3 hours and then they disappeared. When we finally got into the back room where the votes were being ingested, as a data scientist, I want to see where the data is coming in. And I wanted to know the universe of the votes. Well, the universe of the votes was only supposed to be 120,000 mail-in ballots. We were told there were 6,000 ballots remaining. So I said, okay, we have a universe of 126,000 votes. And then when I get back there, the universe wasn't 126,000 votes. The universe was 200,000 votes. So that's a problem. Lastly, when they said, well, we've got all the forensic records and so forth. We just learned 2 days ago that virtually all chain of custody logs, records, yellow sheets, everything was gone. All forensic evidence, all custody sheets in Delaware County are gone. So I say, if you can't certify that vote, and you can't certify 100,000 votes out of 300,000, then you can't certify Delaware County.
My name is Phil Waldron. I'm a retired Army colonel, 30 years. The last half of my career spent in information warfare as a psychological operations officer and information operations officer. Conducted computer network operations. The voting systems in the U.S. And in Pennsylvania were built to be manipulated. The Philadelphia uses ES&S, Pittsburgh uses Dominion, other counties in Pennsylvania use Dominion and other systems. So all of these election systems have a common DNA. So at the very beginning of the chart where there's a circle, it says on election day, what that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes, 337,000 plus or minus some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally you would expect to see a smooth curve going up.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
And I am a resident and voter of Philadelphia City and County. I'm registered as a Republican. I have been involved with Philadelphia Republican politics for over 20 years now. I've had watcher certificates. So we got a word that they were not letting Republican watchers in the polling places in South Philly. So we went to a place which happened to be a funeral parlor where they were doing the election, and I walked in with the watcher certificate in both hands to make sure that they wouldn't snag it out of my hand. They immediately wanted me to identify myself. One of the problems that happens is the Republican watcher certificates are this gold orange color, where the Democrats are like a light blue. I've never really seen one, but I heard they're light blue. So they know right away that we're Republicans coming in there to watch. Two poll workers, I don't know who they were wearing masks and everything. I produced a certificate, and she starts saying it's not good here. And I'm like, it is. And I said, please read the top line. The gentleman that was with her said, would you like to go outside and talk about this? I was not looking for a confrontation. So we did step outside because he wanted to step outside. Will Chamberlain is not a Philadelphia resident, so he's not issued a Philadelphia washer certificate. And he proceeded to take a video of me having a confrontation on the street with these two, I don't know who they were. I don't know, they were poll workers. They never identified who they were.
You're not letting me in? Well, no. That's why I told you, call the police. Do it. If you legal, call the cops. I have a citywide watcher certificate.
It's not for this location.
It's not for it. Is not. Is this the city of Philadelphia? This is the city of Philadelphia. This is the city of Philadelphia. You wanted to talk. You wanted to talk outside. Let's talk. I have a.
Oh, we have one additional witness.
Commentator.
Please.
I will introduce to you now, Mr. President. You are connected.
And I'm in the Oval Office right now. This was an election that we won easily. We won it by a lot. Big energy. This election was rigged, and we can't let that happen. We can't let it happen for our country. And this election has to be turned around because we won Pennsylvania by a lot, and we won all of these swing states by a lot. Anybody watching television the night of the election was saying, wow, I was called by the biggest political people. Congratulations, sir, on a big win. And all of a sudden, ballots were dumped all over the place, and a lot of horrible things happened. And everybody in that room, I want to thank all of the people that signed affidavits and all of the speakers. You're fantastic people. You're great patriots. I want to thank the senators for being there. And it's so important. Day before Thanksgiving, it really represents somebody. Between the voter suppression and all of the horrible things that happened to poll watchers, we have poll watcher affidavits piled up to the ceiling. They're all over. They were treated horribly all over this, all of these swing states. I mean, virtually all of the swing states. If you were a Republican poll watcher, you were treated like a dog. We have many cases of people walking in, a woman, an elderly woman walks in looking forward to voting November 3rd and says, oh good, where would I go about voting? I'm sorry, you've already voted. Your ballot is in. I said, no, I didn't vote. No, your ballot is in. You've already voted. And then they give her a provisional ballot to sign, which goes nowhere. It's a disgrace that this is happening to our country. We won this election by a lot. We got 74 million votes. And all you had to do is take a look at the numbers at 10 o'clock in the evening, when everybody thought the election was virtually over. And then very weird things happened. People were getting 2 and 3 and 4 ballots in their home. People that were dead were signing up for ballots. Not only were they coming in and putting in a ballot, but dead people were requesting ballots. And they were dead for years. And they were requesting ballots. And the whole world is watching us. The whole world is watching the United States of America. And we can't let them get away with it. And I just want to thank everybody for being there. You're doing a tremendous service. This is a very important moment in the history of our country. And you're doing a tremendous service to our country. And don't worry about bravery, because the people that talk the most, they're not the ones you have to worry about. And these are all talkers. They intimidate. But they're bad people. They're horrible people. And they're people that don't love our country. So, and they went absolutely wild because we got far more votes than they thought possible. And they just stepped on the gas, and they got caught. Just like they got caught spying on my campaign, they got caught they got caught doing this. So we have to turn the election over, because there's no doubt we have all the evidence, we have all the affidavits, we have everything. All we need is to have some judge listen to it properly without having a political opinion or having another kind of a problem, because we have everything. And by the way, the evidence is pouring in now as we speak. And I want to thank Rudy Giuliani for having the courage to do this, because there are other lawyers that backed down because they were being screamed at. Rudy is the greatest mayor in the history of New York, and there's a reason. He's got great courage, and he doesn't care. He wants to do what's right. And I told him the other day, Rudy, You were the greatest mayor in the history of New York, and you see what happened to New York without Rudy. You were the greatest mayor, but this is more important. What you're doing now is far more important than being a great mayor of the city of New York and being its greatest mayor by far. By the way, by far. This is going to be your crowning achievement because you're saving our country. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
I think what you've just heard guarantees that 100 years from now, that this is the most important public hearing ever held by this Senate committee.
네, 벌써 선거 이후 3주가 지나가고 있습니다. 이제는 어떤 후보가 이기느냐의 문제보다는 그것보다 훨씬 더 크고 뿌리 깊은 부정선거의 실체가 얼만큼 드러나느냐의 문제인 것 같습니다. 이번 청문회 영상에 대한 여러분들의 생각은 어떠신가요?